Welcome back. I think we can get started with the second half. If Katarina is online already.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good, because I didn't test in advance. And then let's see if I can get the presentation. Right mode.
Exactly, now it's good.
Good. Thank you. Let's see if, okay, I'm not going to do anything. Now I don't see you, but all is good now. So thanks for the invitation to come and talk about SpongeWorks project and what we are doing in that project. My name is Katariina Yliheikkilä. I come from the Regional Council of Southwest Finland. And my second slide, shortly about my organization, if you don't know us by now. So, like I said, Regional Council of Southwest Finland, but we have a special project unit named Valonia. And we are a regional advisory organization for our municipalities and all the citizens and stakeholders in our region. And one of our main themes is preserving biodiversity and water protection. And that's my theme as well, what I work on. And we act as a platform for projects. And that's how we also ended up being partner in SpongeWorks project. And yeah, shortly, we are a small corner in the southwestern part of Finland. And in the whole of Finland, we are quite unique organization. We are a public organization funded by the municipalities, but mainly funded by projects. And to SpongeWorks. When I agreed to give this presentation in the early summer, I thought I would know more about the project by now, but we are just starting to be partners in SpongeWorks. But I try to explain as much as I know. So SpongeWorks is a project funded by the Horizon Europe. And it has been running since autumn, for 1 year, approximately from autumn 2024. And the aim is to promote sponge measures by creating sponge strategies and implementing sponge measures based on the strategies. And water management is the core why we are wanting to have these sponge measures in our river basins. And it's part of the 3 EU missions that you might all be aware of. So the Ocean and Waters, Adaptation to Climate Change, and Soil Mission as well. The whole consortium is 28 partners, 50 million euros is the budget. Soon I will tell, we are not part of the main consortium of SpongeWorks. Soon I will tell what we are part of. But about the sponge measures, in Finnish, I'm having such difficulties translating this into Finnish. So any Finnish speaking, if you have a good translation, what is sponge measure in Finnish, please let me know. But in practice, it's a nature-based solution how to retain water in our river basins, in forests, lakes, rivers, also in urban areas, to add water where there's shortage of water and vice versa. And if you remember Mari's presentation in the beginning, so this is implementing what Mari explained. And Mari also explained that our region is already having drought issues, and we are agricultural area, so drought combined with agriculture and also irrigation it's not a good combination. Sponswork has 3 demo regions. One is Vecht River Basin. It's a transboundary catchment between Germany and the Netherlands. The second is in France, Les River Basin, and the third one is in Greece, Pinios. Maybe you know them, but now you know a bit more about those. And they are in practice implementing sponge measures that they have identified that are applicable to their regions. But then comes our role. What do we do in this project? The Spongeworks, like many other European Horizon projects, they have this cascade funding. So within the project, they give funding to other projects. And in this Spongeworks, they gave funding for associated regions who wanted to do the same as the pilot regions, thus that is create a sponge strategy and a roadmap to implement it, and also already start implementing those sponge measures. We in Southwest Finland, we applied for the funding for our archipelago sea catchment, and we were lucky enough to receive the funding. And as you can see from the map on the right-hand side, we are the only Nordic country, or even like the boreal region country. So we are a bit different than the pilot regions or the associated regions, but nevertheless, they were eager to have us on board, and we are eager to be on board. We are a translating region, which means that what the pilot region is promoting, we try to translate it to our climatic conditions. And I forgot to mention that we were coupled with the Vecht region, which is in the Netherlands and Germany. So what they are doing in their region, which is, they have same kind of troubles or challenges, which is drought in a region which is like historically it has abundance of water, but suddenly there's no water. And that's the same situation now in some parts of the Southwest Finland, so that's why we were coupled. And like I said, Archipelago Sea catchment is our pilot catchment, and our regional council, Wallonia, is the lead. And we are working together with the ELY Center of Southwest Finland. So why we joined Spongeworks? We named the project Sponge Enough with a question mark. We have heard from previous presenters that we have a lot of catchment plans, a lot of planning going on. Also implementation, of course, that's very important, but a lot of planning, especially now that we have the Archipelago Sea program going on. But what we want to look at in this planning is that, is it sponge enough? Like, are we promoting the right measures when we think about climate resilience and the biodiversity and sustainable water management? Are these measures sponge enough? And also we want to tell this to the stakeholders, being the landowners or some other organizations who are working with the landowners to promote water protection measures, that hey, now we also need to think about the climate resilience from this point of view. So that was like the main trigger to apply for this funding. And of course, always knowledge exchange, like what we have done for this past 2 hours, is very important to learn from other countries what they are doing, what measures they are implementing. Could we learn from that, or vice versa? Could they maybe do something similar what we are doing. And the sponge itself, like briefly, we just heard about the nature restoration law. It's going. I don't know what is going to be, how is the implementation plan going to be like, but we need to start integrating this idea of nature restoration as a water management method as well to the landowners' agenda. A lot of text, but basically this is our objectives that we want to increase the regional resilience by adding these sponge measures to strategies and to different plans so that it's on a strategy level, but then parallel to that, we also want to implement those measures. So it's not all about strategies, but also we are working with the different sub-catchments in our region so that when they are planning new measures, we want to co-create with them that are they sponge enough. So that's our aim. And yes, I don't know how much time did I have. This is my almost last slide, but yeah, like I said, the climate resilience is going to be one of the expected impacts, but also when it comes to the Archipelago Sea program, to reduce the nutrient runoff, especially from agriculture, to stop on, or at least mitigate the eutrophication process in the Archipelago Sea, strengthen the biodiversity and soil health, and to have a scalable model. Also, when we are doing this catchment scale planning, so that there would be like sponge would be a part of it, and the biodiversity aspect especially. And always we are eager to test novel methods and try to find farms or some places where we can test them. Currently I'm excited about hedges, but I'm not sure that are we going to find a place to test them, but there would be a method that we could use in our water protection as a combination of adding biodiversity, water protection, and also landscape effects. And this is just to show a little bit like what are the sponges going to be like, what we want to promote, river restoration, two-stage channels in river restorations, restoration of peatlands, also measures in fields such as wintertime crop coverage and so on. But that was quite quickly my presentation. Now I will stop sharing so
Thank you.
I can see you.
Any questions to Katarina? No.
Has anyone heard about the project? It's very small, but still not yet. Now you heard.
Yeah. And it's a novel terminology again, but very descriptive. So very good. Yeah.
But please follow their social media sites because they have especially the LinkedIn page they are posting there. It's very informative. So please do follow them.
Okay. Will do.
Thank you.
My dog is not behaving on the background. So, but we can continue. Next would be a couple of Interreg Central Baltic funded projects.
Elsie, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Could I just have a small, quick question to Katarina?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Katarina, about this presentation. I did not know about the project. It's really interesting. And you have done, and there are also in parallel other projects going on in your region that address soil and water and land use. And so how are these different projects coordinated? Is there some kind of a joint body that is this kind of having oversight on these and making links then to policy implementation or other activities on the public sector?
Well, those projects that are part of the Archipelago Sea program, of course, they are kind of coordinated also by the ELY Center of Southwest Finland and so on. But we have in Southwest Finland, we have this network for water restoration. How to say it in English? For everyone interested of water restoration, not only the project, but also like individual landowners and so on. And a part of that network is also very good question. I would say, okay, going more in detail. In 2 weeks, we have a meeting with all the projects in Southwest Finland. So that's something concrete that we are doing. So we call everyone who has some kind of link in water protection project in Southwest Finland. We have invited them with the ELY Center of Southwest Finland to come to a certain place and to tell about the project. And that's how we collaborate. And also there's a field excursion. So at least that.
Okay. No,
yeah.
you.
But I have to say it should be more coordinated somehow, that we would really know what the others are doing, but also outside of our region. We are only a small region having very many projects, but it would be nice to collaborate more with other regions in Finland as well. If I answered the question.
Okay, so then we can move forward to the Interact projects, and we would have first Baltco project, the Baltic Catchment Officer project, and Mats Johansson.
Yes, hello. Thank you for inviting me to this very interesting seminar, and I just can agree on the need to share knowledge in between projects and in between countries. I believe that we in Sweden would need that kind of a meeting that you just told us about, that you will have in the southwest of Finland, but we need them for Sweden as well. So I will speak about the Baltcop Interreg Baltcop project, and I start to share my screen. I hope you can see it. And I'm the program manager of this project, and I'm located in Sweden, in Stockholm, at the WWF Baltic Sea program, who is together with WWF Sweden the host of or managing this project. So I will speak a little bit about the project, and then I will also add a few of the work, what the status of the work of catchment officer in Sweden, adding on to what Markus Hoffman presented earlier. So Baltcop is short for Baltic Catchment Officer Project. And it's been up and running for a year or more now, and it will end in May 2027. And it has a total budget, etc., like this. And we also have a good web page at the Interreg Center Baltic, who is financing us for 80%. And the partners in this project is WWF in Sweden, and we also have partners in Latvia, that is Pasales Daubas Fondes, and also the Latvia University of Life Science and Technology that we've also have representatives here from in the audience today. And in Estonia, it's the Estonian Fund for Nature, and we have Nyköpings Åarnas Vattenvårdsförbund, the Nyköpings Rivers Conservation Association, Swedish local water association, that I also know that there are people joining this webinar that could maybe help me out or answer questions afterwards. So it's a very nice project, Pan-Baltic. We also have a link to Finland and the work that WWF Finland is doing on wetlands and this catchment or local work too with water measures. The objective, well, it's a very nice objective, but it's very similar to other objectives that you've seen throughout this seminar. But we aim to create a positive change for nutrient reduction and at the same time restore ecosystems. And that is leading to a healthier Baltic Sea, of course. But of course, fresh water, water on land, so to say, is also important part of this. And we will develop, test, and try to scale the catchment officer approach that we've heard of already from other partners. I will speak more about our definition of this very soon. And we have three main work packages. One is the awareness raising and engagement. That is really mainly done on local levels in specific local and regions in the different countries and connected to our pilot sites. But it's also a lot about developing work from policy and well, being part of these kinds of seminars, etc. Then we work a lot within the project to share knowledge and build capacity. We are trying to do something, well, develop a common concept or do the similar things in different countries, but we start in different places. And therefore, this knowledge sharing and capacity building is very important. And we will try to develop a catchment officer toolkit or a Baltic guidebook at the end of the project, describing the findings that we have done and also including other projects and experiences that we stumble upon or meet. And then also important are that we do need to do things on the ground at the same time, not only doing meetings, papers, workshops, but also building and learning from that. So we have pilot projects in 3 countries. And the catchment approach, I mean, this has been presented by almost everyone and in maybe in better ways earlier in this seminar. We see it as the starting point for working with the Water Framework Directive and of course the river basin management plans and also all other restoration measures that is in the water or close to the water as well. So it's really addressing the natural restoration plans and the natural restoration law. And in Sweden, as Marcus Hoffman from the Swedish Farmers Association already told you, this has been developed and tested to start scaling measures. So what is a catchment officer? Yeah, there are quite a few different both names. You heard about water ranges from Estonia, and there are different names and concepts: local advisors, water advisors, etc., etc. Waterman. I believe Marcus Hoffman mentioned what was called the waterman in Norway. But they, as we see it, we named them catchment officers, and they assist in coordinating restoration efforts across catchment area and being a bridge between stakeholders. And this is what we also see in this picture. We see the Nyköpings Åarnas water associations, local Catchment Officer Gordon on the same picture last week, together with the local farmer Erika, and the newly created wetland on her land that have been built within the Baltic project, one of our pilot sites. So they help by identifying where measures can and should be implemented. They give advice, different kinds of advice in different phases of a process and in different situations, and really helping from idea to realization. And also, in Sweden at least, helping, guiding and helping with external funding, which is not an easy thing at least not for the normal farmer. And maybe most important, connected to trust, they are not acting or representing as the authorities, which is we believe is a really important part of this concept. So I will now show a few pictures from info material that has been developed and it's been based from NVVF's, the Swedish organization's method, but being also a result of the national program that Marcus Hoffman told you about earlier. This is kind of the essence and the way of describing what a local catchment officer is doing step by step. Somehow, landowner discussions are initiated. That could be initially maybe by seeking up the farmer, taking contact, phoning, but over time and the years and where trust and information is spread about the project and the catchment officers, it turns out that they are being contacted by the farmers and the landowners, saying, "Hey, I've been thinking about this. Maybe I should have a wetland. Could you help me out?" So this is over time. This is not only seeking up the farmers. It includes a lot of coffee drinking or whatever you drink, together with the farmers or the landowners to identify a specific location of. And this is maybe not very easy, but it's having these local discussions, and there are a lot of different interests and things to consider when doing this. Not only where it is most effective from a nutrient reduction perspective, for example. Then the local catchment officer is go back to the office or wherever and do an analysis of the area, bringing in external information and from maps and databases and authorities, etc. And analyzing data, maybe there's monitoring done, and trying to design the wetland and mapping it. And this is of course made digitally. But sometimes you need to maybe make drawings, etc. Together with the landowner or etc. But this ends up in a digital project most times. Then there are the step by obtaining permits. I mean, which is not the everyday work for the farmer or the landowner, which is a bump in the road for the ones that want to do this. And the catchment officer is very important person and in doing this. And this could also take time, and so all from a month or to a year in Sweden. Could also be applying for money in this phase when you have decided what to do. And then if you got the permit and you got the funding, maybe you find a local entrepreneur, you could start preparing for the restoration, which is an important part. And maybe that also makes gives you new information so that you revise your plan or your measure, refine it or change it. And then eventually you get to the phase of executing, building, do the restoration or the measure you want to do. Most times it's digging and this, but sometimes it could be not that much need for a machine. It could also be done by easier things if you talk about small streams and natural restoration efforts for biodiversity, etc. Sometimes it's just plugging, but most times you need some kind of skilled person. Sometimes the farmer can do this. And we've added in this approach, the last part is that, well, you also need to, in the planning and in the start of this process and during this process, address the idea of the operation and maintenance. How do we operate it? What is needed? How often? Who should do it? How to finance it? So this is very short from a brochure that is coming from the project, where we try to express one way of telling and informing about the way maybe not all, but most catchment officers in Sweden are working at the moment. So on our webpage and later on in the project, you will get more info on this. Now I will take a step back and talk about the catchment officer work in Sweden. This slide is really already, everything on this has been told by Marcus earlier, so I won't speak about that more than that. After this project ended in 2021, the involvement from the government or the national authorities, etc., has been much less than earlier. So these catchment officers and this work and the process and this momentum that was gained within this national pilot project has had to live on its own in a way. And thanks to organizations like the Swedish Farmers Associations, a lot of the catchment officers, some regional authorities, and also us at the WWF, we've been kind of taking care of this network and these people, and it has been really increasing after that. So we have approximately 50 catchment officers with a diverse organizational base and funding. I will speak more about that. On a national level, the Swedish government has learned from this and read the report that Marcus told earlier, read proposals coming from our national agencies saying this is a good thing, we should do this more, we should scale it on a national level. And this is really praised in national policy documents, also being decided upon in the Swedish Parliament, etc. But there have still, we're waiting, maybe it comes any day, I don't know. But there are no specific funding decided for the development and future work with this from national level. So it's still from a bottom-up approach. This is happening, and we at the WWF, other conservation nature organizations, and the Swedish Farmers Associations, we have been for quite a few years now advocating for long-term funding for these catchment officer programs. It's not much money compared to the challenge that we see connected to water in the landscape. But we need money for funding catchment officers, and we also need a long-term funding for the measures, for the actions to be done. If there's no money to seek or apply for from national level, it will not take off, even though if you put out the catchment officers in the landscape and in different catchments. Yeah, and it looks very different in different places. In the picture, it's from a study visit in Finland this spring, where we met this farmer who had done a lot of wetlands work together with the Finnish WWF Finland. So we have a strong belief that catchment officers plus long-term funding is a good strategy to get action on all these overarching objectives that we have, not only nutrient reduction, but also biodiversity and the national restoration, climate adaptations, etc. That's been described very well by earlier speakers. Just adding on, I was asking also other earlier presentations on well, the organizational part and who should do this. And we do see that in Sweden we have this catchment officer is not really that easy to define. Maybe you heard that I've said talking about local catchment officers. That is what we mainly talk about. That is the local advisor and maybe the designer of measures and sometimes even being part of the implementations in a specific catchment area on a local level, together with farmers and landowners. But we also see that people, and in some catchments or in some small regions or even larger municipalities, we could see that there are catchment officers. They call themselves that. They are more like a project leader. They are working with several local catchment officers or other actors, and maybe in one or more subcatchments, not only working in one place, and really helping out, running in between, so to say, being implementing and the solution providers. Also applying for money, being an expert in different places. Our partner Nyköpingsåarna, NWWF in Sweden, is really having this function. They do have local advisors and they also have more of a project leader approach, as you see John Lund, who is in the picture to the right here. And then there's some people at the regional county boards, that is our regional authorities, that I would say sometimes they say, yeah, I'm a catchment officer. I work with this approach and this concept, but they are more of coordinators on the river basin level or even or a national regional level. And they work with strategies, planning and financing, both the catchment officers and also measures. Sometimes even taking in consideration how to prioritize between funding and using the CAP money, etc. So this is also a way of seeing this and describing the systems of advisors or support function that we see as part of the catchment-based approach and the work with the catchment officers. And all stemming from Sweden. We have learned a lot about catchment officers in Sweden, and WWF we commissioned a report from our agriculture university earlier this year, and with the objective to really gather all the new experiences that we have had since 2021, and to describe the challenges, the needs, and find and identify improvement proposals for future organization and financing and support structures. So they made a digital questionnaire and got 48 answers from catchment officers, and they also made deep interviews with 6 persons. Among them, the local advisor, catchment officer Harald, and also Cassandra, the two that Marcus was showing picture from. This is a report. It's in Swedish. I will take out a few things from this, but there's a link here, and this Google Translate, or even some of you are also to read Swedish in a proper way. So back to where who are these catchment officers? I mean, they have a diverse background in education. Some are stem from agriculture, some from biology, some are engineers, all over the place. So it's not that, and they have not come from a specific sector or a specific curriculum or education. 3 out of 5, there's 60%, they work full time as catchment officers, which is very, very good. But on the other hand, not everyone does. So it's some places it's only part time. And their employments are almost 40% or more than 40% are temporary or project-based. That is that their own situation is very short-sighted. I mean, from a human or an employer, so they are quite unsecure in this role, and almost all, that is 80%, are financed by national or regional project support. That is, it's not long-term funding. It's not more than 3 years for 80% of these catchment officers, which is a very unstable situation. And 1 out of 3 don't have a proper plan for future funding, so they come and do whatever year for year. This. So we haven't really put this, formalized this, and put this into a general way. Which has been the objective of some of the projects and processes that we heard of earlier today. We've asked about monitoring and evaluation, and this is managed very differently, which is also a need pointed out also by LBTU in the discussions earlier. And we don't have this national node or coordination. We don't have something similar to the WETES project or the earlier Swedish node. So it's widely spread. It's steadily increasing. It's project-based, and so it's not yet really adopted and scaled in Sweden, even though we have a lot of experiences. So where do they work, this organizational thing? Well, most of them are hired in some way by municipalities. Some of them are at the regional level hired as a county board. Quite a few on local water NGOs like the NVVF that we work in. And some are consultants from the local water NGOs or from the municipalities. And there are other arrangements as well. So this is really not a top-down way of organizing things. So there are many flowers flowering in this field, and maybe has been good up till now. And we need to formalize this in one way or another for the future. But it's been adapted to the local or regional situation, I would say. So we asked them, or the researchers at the Swedish Agriculture University asked about steps forward and lessons learned. And here are 7 of these, I would say, that I say. It's about securing for the development and future work for catchment officers in Sweden. So secure financing over time. I've been already on this. Don't focus on only one problem, such as eutrophication. This we have also learned from today, also in the very beginning from Marie and the Finnish case, which is good. Have a multifunctional approach on water restoration, also included in the lessons from the water drive. But still, in Sweden, we have this silo financing and thinking. But they say we need to move away from this. There's a lot of simplifications of the processes for permits and that can be done, and harmonize this between authorities. Things are handled different in different parts of Sweden, which is of course not good. There's a need for this node or sharing of knowledge and guidance, etc. in Sweden. They do see this, and especially from the trained ones that have been around for maybe 4 or 5 or 7 years to the newly employed ones. They also see a need to develop their social and communicative skills. It's not very easy coming out there being new to the agriculture sector and meeting farmers, landowners, etc. How to communicate in different settings. And they also need support on how to use the CAP money. It is not preferably used because it takes too much time, it's too risky, it's not functioning well in Sweden yet. And they do want to increase the dialogue between their as they are not authorities, they do need and are relying on a good dialogue and cooperation with the regional authorities and also national authorities. So these are some of the conclusions for the forward work in Sweden. I will end. This is the end of the talk of the report, and I will speak about a few things rounding up on back to the project. So Baltic has been up and around for a year. We will develop some kind of, well, as other projects said, we will deliver a roadmap that is policy oriented. The target group for this will be the Baltic regional actors, national ministers, authorities. I mean, well, all of you guys attending this and other actors as well. That is looking out, talking about the way forward for the catchment officer approach and also catchment based approach. And this is something that we will that we've started discussing and working with, but will be coming at the end of the project in 26, 27, I would say. And I look forward to a lot of dialogue and input from all of you that have been working and are working with this on this. And we don't. How do we make this roadmap so we don't copy or double work, and so we connect this and fill a hole instead of overlapping? I believe that's the main challenge for this. So happy to be in contact with all of you. But we are also working from inside the project, from this catchment officer knowledge that has been gained in Sweden and in other countries, and is now under development in Estonia, as you've heard from the VETES project, and also within our project and pilot sites and the Estonian Nature Fund's work, together with the work in Latvia and also in Finland, the on-ground work. We will make a guidebook. We will make a toolkit that will describe this more in detail. And this is something that we are already developing and discussing. And hopefully in the beginning of next year, we will have a product, a first version that we could open up and discuss and get your input on. I think that's very important. And it is also important that we check and test this guidebook and also the policy aspects, of course, on the project sites, our work package 3. See, so we don't make another dreamy paper policy document or whatever, producing it and nobody can use it. So how will it function? Can it function? How will it support the different situations and the processes that are different in each of our 3 countries that we are working with? So we have project sites up, one built in Vreta wetland in Sweden, restoration ongoing in Latvia, and coming up in this spring in Estonia. And we will also in the next year see things happening at least in one place in Latvia, but probably, hopefully, we will get the budget fixed so that we could have more specific sites also in Latvia. So I will stop now, Elsie. And we see Baltic will not solve all this, but hopefully together with the project that's been presented here and in other ongoing processes in the Baltic region and maybe outside the Baltic region, we see that there is a need for the next step, and we have not discussed that. That will be part of the roadmap and the dialogues, etc. But we do see that we would like to inspire and develop pilots and field projects in other countries than the 3 that we are working with now. We do see a need to develop policy and advocacy on the catchment approach and the catchment officer concept. Possibly another future Pan-Baltic project, bridging into the formalization or where we do get this into the work on in each country level, possibly. And also, as a few of you have said, and also Marcus Hoffman from Sweden has said, there's this interest of having this catchment officer or local advisor concept to be spread horizontally. We are discussing it now, not only for revetting forests in Sweden, but also for increasing biodiversity in the agricultural landscape. This is kind of an interesting approach. And how do we do that? It will not be the same persons with the same organizations with the same funding that are going to do this if we do it for other questions. Okay. That's the link to our webpage. There's also a webpage on Interreg, Central Baltic. And I'll stop there. Thank you for listening.
Thanks a lot. Very
I'll
interesting.
stop sharing.
Questions now? Too much? Mari, go ahead.
Yes, a comment to this, that exactly the same kind of challenges we are having here in Finland. As you said, we have so many objectives, biodiversity, and many people want to have focus on wetlands, and there are people who want more wetland officers, and there are restoration officers needed, and how to put everything together. This is we are discussing, and I hope we find ways to discuss further together. So absolutely, Finland has the same discussions going on. Thank you.
And I would say that that's a challenge for the existing administration and the water and the climate adaptation and for the authorities working with this, deciding on what kind of priorities and decisions of choosing what to do, what is of the the highest priority in each catchment area. And we don't have that decision, this way of deciding on. In this catchment, we should focus on biodiversity. In this catchment area, we should focus on removing dams. In this area, we should go for the nutrient reductions. We don't have that kind of formalizations or way of deciding. We need to do that or develop that in Sweden. And if you have ideas of that, please tell me.
Also, this one, how many levels we have of catchments, and we can work on here coordinating and here in practical planning, and all of this should be discussed.
Yes. There will be another seminar, right, Marie?
Yes, right.
Exactly. Maybe a topic for future discussions. Hopefully.
Well, at least the bulk of product will have
Yes.
open seminars when we open up in 2026 when we have more results. So
okay.
You will all be invited, and Elsie will spread
Very
the
good.
message.
Yes. Looking forward to it. Then we have the last presentation by Josefina Ruponen about watershed safety plans.
Thank you. I'm Josefina Ruponen from Häme University of Applied Sciences. I work as a project specialist in our HAMK Bio Research Unit, and I'm happy to be here and present a WSSP project. And now I share the presentation. So I'm leading this watershed safety plan for controlling diffuse pollution project. And at first, some basic information about this project. So we have 9 partners in total from 4 countries. In addition to our organizations, we have 2 partners from Finland that are University of Helsinki and Water Association from West Uusimaa County, and then Estonian University of Life Sciences, water utility Valgavesi from Estonia. Then we have Riga Technical University and water utility Liepaja Water from Latvia, and County Administrative Board of Östergötland and Royal Technical University from Sweden. Project has started about 1.5 years ago, and we have 2 more years to go. Budget is about 2.6 million euros, and this is co-funded by EU's Interreg Central Baltic program, as the previous project that was presented. And as we all know, this challenge that we have with diffuse pollution, that we should do something to control it better and prevent nutrient and other harmful substance pollution to the Baltic Sea. So we have to find new catchment-based ways to reduce quality and quantity pollution risks. And that's why we have developed this watershed safety plan operational model. So it's a holistic watershed-based approach, and it highlights social aspects. So we want that the different actors cooperate more, and also that cooperation inside the organizations would be enhanced. And one of the key objectives of this model is to harmonize catchment area work that is getting more common. So because at the moment there's not one systemic model that everyone uses. So with this application, it would be easier to compare different catchment area plans, for example. And the idea of this operational model is to have like a systemic process to go through the water management and catchment area work, and to identify the most significant diffuse pollution risks in the big pictures, so that resources can be used wisely when we know where the pollution comes from and what can be done. And municipalities and water utilities are our main target groups in this project, but our aim is to spread this operational model to other target groups in different levels as well. And I would like to highlight here that this is not a complicated empirical model, so it's more like a way of working, and the idea of this model is to help to consider water protection, for example, in land use planning and decision-making processes in municipalities, for example. And here you can see the process of watershed safety plan operational model. And I would say the most important part is on the top of this figure, that is stakeholder engagement. So at first stage, it's very crucial to ensure collaboration with important colleagues and stakeholders That can be, for example, municipalities, water utilities, water protection actors, associations, and companies, and so on. Even though we speak more nowadays about this stakeholder cooperation, so there is still a lot to do to strengthen that part. After that, there is data collection phase of the selected catchment area. So the characteristics of the catchment area are determined, and if new water monitoring data is needed, then in this phase, the data can be collected through water sampling or real-time water monitoring. After this, there's a risk assessment phase that is needed to recognize the most significant diffuse pollution areas, and that is implemented by using GIS methods and specific risk criteria to create risk maps that show those diffuse pollution risks. And at this point, it is important to make sure, because this reveals those risk areas, that what are relevant stakeholders in those smaller risk hotspot areas, and how to engage them. And also, it is good to evaluate the reliability of the risk assessment, because it depends on, for example, the data that has been used for the assessment. And naturally, risk management follows the risk assessment phase, and their suitable water protection measures are selected and implemented, and then the efficiency of water protection measures is monitored. And after this phase, it is important to ensure the durability of the measures and the model. So if there were some like during the process, if it was noticed that there's some need to develop this model further, then it's possible to consider them in the next round. And then it is important to continue regular water monitoring to check the efficiency of these water protection measures, and also take care of the maintenance of these structures that have been implemented. And our idea is to collect like existing tools to the part of this model which have been already developed, that it would be easier to find them from one place. So we don't want to do same work that has been already done. but to combine that what already exists. Here you can see the example of WSSP risk map. This is a draft version of one of our pilot areas from Finland. This is a small agricultural and forestry catchment area. And we have tested this WSSP risk assessment phase in this catchment area. And so we have 6 different pilot areas where we test this WSSP operational model and develop it further based on our findings. And we have 2 pilot areas in Finland. The one that I already mentioned, it's about 7 square kilometers. Then we have our largest catchment area is 95 square kilometers called Tavastjärven in Kirkkonummi area. Then we have 2 pilot areas from Sweden. In Uutto Island, there is a size of 10 hectares of catchment area. And then in Norrköping, there's a subcatchment area of Motala River. It's about 80 hectares. And this catchment area is mostly urban. Then we have an urban catchment area also in Estonia, in Valga municipality. It's called Konnaja, about 8 square kilometers. And then in Latvia, we have 1 pilot area that is called Liepaja. It's about 70 square kilometers. And there's natural forest, but also composting area of wastewater sludge. Here you can see where we are going at the moment in this project. So that orange part is our first work package where we have piloted the risk assessment stage of WSSP. And then now we are piloting the field state of WSSP, where we have been implementing water protection measures to our pilot areas based on the risk assessment results. And in one pilot area, the water protection structure, the wetland in this case, has already constructed, but then other pilot areas, they are in different phases of implementations and planning. And next we are starting to plan how to organize WSSP guidelines. So it's that like a light green part of the plan. And then I would like to tell what would be the availability of WSSP operating model. We have existing version, but it has been designed for urban areas, and it was produced in a previous project. It was a national project in Finland called Hulvattu, but here's a link for that project where you can find guidelines how to implement the current version of the model, but the updated version will be published in 2027, and in the spring of that year, 2027, we will organize 2 training sessions, how to use WSSP operational model. So all are warmly welcome to those events. So you don't have to be from municipalities or water utilities to participate to those training sessions. And we have those training sessions in all our partner countries. So we have those in Finland, Sweden, Estonia, and Latvia. But you can contact me for further information also. So we will create a website for the WSSP that will be the final product of the model, and it will include like instructions how to implement this WSSP process, and also interactive simulation models, more information about water protection solutions, and other useful additional material. Yes, thank you. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thanks a lot. So other questions? Or questions to any of the speakers that we have had this far? If thoughts have been kind of proving and new questions arise with time. If not, then big thanks to all of the speakers, and I would like to keep you still for a short while I have a question to ask to all of you, basically. But I will stop the recording now, and thanks again for all the participants and the speakers and so on. And hopefully it was useful, and hopefully we can continue also these kind of discussions, especially when the projects that have been presented now get more results and so on.
Thank you.